Hello everyone, I'm Reverend Linda Anson and I'm so happy that you're here tonight. It's just fabulous. What a great audience you are. This talk is going to be called Start a Ripple, Create a Wave. So we're going to be journeying into some old charted territory, but hold on, because it will be a new ride, a new way of looking at an old concept. We're going to talk about the power of kindness. Then taking it a step further into radical kindness, and then we'll be talking about oneness and how when totally embracing that principle, we create ripples of love. When we give unconditionally, we open the space for people's expansion and our own. Lastly, we'll discuss an action plan for how we can embrace a new way of being in our lives to create the biggest ripple ever. So, the power of kindness. Sometimes we lose sight of what is truly important to us. When I get worried, upset, confused, or frustrated, and I become aware of that feeling of being out of principle, out of spirit, and out of balance, I ask myself, okay, God, how can I be of service right now? I was working on my talk the other day and was entertaining some of those negative thoughts of worry, confusion, and frustration. And I received a call from a friend who needed me to do a little research on the computer, print it out, and take it to her job across town. So at first I was feeling a little put out. And then I remembered the subject of my talk and knew that by helping her, it would make her day a lot easier and my day would be enriched by helping her. So I did that. My focus was immediately shifted from feelings and thoughts that didn't serve me into a higher vibration of helping. Acts of kindness and doing things for others does carry a very high vibration. I've been thinking about this link between our healing and being of service. We can shift our focus from physical or mental pain to doing what we can to be of service. Being of service is about having positive, inspiring, and heart perspective opening conversations with the people around us. When we act out of a physical action or of unconditional kindness towards another being, it immediately reconnects us with our truth. It reminds us ever so slightly of our interconnectedness with one another and our true nature, which is love. When we perform a selfless act of kindness towards someone else, we take the focus off of ourselves. To step up the vibration scale, this must happen. Staying trapped in the musings of the ego happens because the focus is all on you and the unfair or painful circumstance you're experiencing. The ego loves this attention. It feeds off of it. When we go into the space of being of service or a positive contribution to anyone other than ourselves, we elevate our vibration. Because to do so requires us to step out of the dramatic stories of the ego, expand our awareness to another person, their needs, and then it recalibrates with love. The acts of kindness can be a simple gesture of opening the door for someone, holding the elevator. How often do we do that? A lot, or it gets held for us. Smiling at a stranger, giving a nice compliment to someone who momentarily crossed our path. Anything that takes the immediate focus off the ego drama and into making a stranger's life a little better. It'll immediately send a surging of positive emotion through your body. When this happens, our truth is triggered and we remember it for a second. The essence of who we are, love. Sometimes the acts of kindness might be more long-term. I assisted one of our congregants, Maud Williams, for a year of weekly chemo treatments and felt honored to be in her presence as she navigated through the information, the decisions, the treatments, the procedures, and deep contemplation. I spent time with her children doing prayer treatment and just talking, teasing, and laughing. My invitation into her life was such a blessing. I went through such an amazing expansion and became a minister in consciousness during that time. And I know that Carol here had a beautiful experience, a pretty long-term experience of helping search for the body of a young woman, Sierra Lamar. And I remember I was in the choir at the time and hearing your experience of that. It was pretty special, and I know you grew a lot during that time. Leo Biscaglia says that too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, or a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn life around. You know, I can think of so many acts of kindness that I can't even list them. But I remember when Ben needed acts of kindness, that this center really came forward in unlimited amounts of kindness, and still is. The more consistent you are in your practice of random acts of kindness, the more expansive your heart becomes. Inside this expansiveness, we reestablish our connection to each other, to the world, and most importantly, to ourselves, our true selves, that is. Acts of kindness begin with reprogramming our thoughts into those that are kind. Each time we generate an angry thought, word, or action within ourselves, we add to the violence outside of ourselves. We all would likely agree that the world could use more kindness and a lot more of it, right?
Yeah.
If we want to live in a kinder and gentler community and world, then we all need to do our part to make it happen. There's a theory called social reciprocity theory. You may have heard of it. And once I describe it, you'll know it. It basically states that we treat others as we are treated. So if people are nice to us, we are nice in return. But sometimes the opposite happens. If you're driving freeway and somebody's not so kind, they cut you off, you might respond in kind or in cruel. So yeah, we're tempted to match that as well. But it is, if we're treated, how can we expect to be treated with kindness, graciousness, compassion, and respect if we fail to behave in this manner ourselves? And we'll talk about it a little more with radical kindness. It's not our task to fix the entire world at once, but stretching out to mend the part of the world that's within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist them, will help immediately. It's not given to us to know which acts, or by whom, will cause the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. You probably have heard about the tipping point. And that means that so many acts are happening that it's tipping towards more good. What is needed for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts, adding to, adding more, and continuing, consistent. We know that it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group who will not give up. And knowing that and learning about that is a very big thing, because we cannot change everybody. We can be responsible for ourselves. Ralph Waldo Emerson states that to know even one life that has breathed easier because you have lived is to have succeeded. Now, let's talk about radical kindness. What is it? How could kindness be radical? It's a serious, purposeful, and may I even suggest aggressive and high-impact effort to treat everybody with kindness. It involves going out of our way to be gracious, offer a kind word or deed, and so forth to both those that you know and to those you don't know. Do you think you could do this? Are you brave enough to do it? Of course. We're all brave here. What makes this strategy especially radical is that you aim to treat people with kindness even when they treat you poorly, rudely, or disrespectfully, like the situation on the freeway. Kindness can be a powerful intervention and can act as a foil to escalating tensions between people and groups. You probably have heard of that situation in different countries where different factions come together and somebody that is qualified and able to bring kindness out of these groups, and they meet on this neutral ground. So it's a strategic advantage. Conflicts can be avoided. Your reputation can be enhanced. And you may get more of what you want if you engage in this style of interacting with others. Plus, it will likely improve your well-being and lower stress according to research. The Dalai Lama says that compassion is the radicalism of our time. Isn't that something? Try radical kindness in your life and see what happens. I bet that you'll find that you will feel better about yourself and others in addition to making the world a better place. Be aggressive with kindness. Social reciprocity theory would suggest that people will behave kindly to you in return. And even if they don't, so what? You'll still feel better. You'll feel better about yourself. Mahatma Gandhi says, it's easy to be friendly to one's friends, but to befriend the one who regards himself as your enemy is the quintessence of true religion. The other is pure business. I thought that was interesting too. So as a group at this center, we volunteer at Sunrise Village, a homeless shelter in Fremont, by cooking and serving a meal once a month. We shop for the food and cook it and serve it. It's been one of the best activities to build community ever and to reach out and help someone. At the beginning of the service, we circle up and we do treatment for the event and all the people involved, the servers and the people being served and the staff. We talk about seeing the oneness and humanity. And we go into the dining room and serve them their meals. Most of the other groups serve them from a bar, and we go out. So one of my favorite memories is when there was a large family of several generations. I know Penny was there, and I think Debbie too. They were obviously arguing and being unkind to each other. It was very difficult to see. And a young boy, about 7 or 8, came over to the servers, to Penny, and was expressing his gratitude and wanted to just hang out with us. He told one of the servers that he loved her. And he was so grateful. And they're all very grateful there. You could see a spark in this boy that is a blessing to his family and the world. It's part of the ripple effect. We are affecting him, and he will ripple out to his family and others. We could see in him that he was going to be okay. Another service we provide at the homeless shelter as a spiritual community is to wrap presents and organize storage closets in mid-December, which we'll be doing again this year. It's so fun. The energy that is created by all the love from the Fremont community in the way of donated gifts and the wrapping of the gifts is beyond amazing. We don't mind that we're crowded into this room with maybe that big of a space to wrap a present this big. And it's so heartwarming to be a part of it. It just touches us deeply, and we think about it afterwards. We have a picture of being there as the children's faces light up and they're opening all their presents. They may have 20 presents. There's so many, and it's a wonderful Christmas around there. Mother Teresa says, love is not patronizing, and charity isn't about pity. It is about love. Charity and love are the same. With charity, you give love. So don't just give money, but reach out your hand instead. I donate substantially for several different nonprofits, and 2 of them are the Homeless Shelter and SAVE, which is the Shelter Against Violent Environments. And yes, they do need money for their programs, of course. However, I feel more blessed when I have actual contact with a human being. On many occasions, I have been approached by homeless people, and I often give money, but take a few moments to talk to them and look them in the eye and show that I care. And it's kind of funny because when I was doing volunteer work for SAVE, I was sort of a big sister program, So I would go and give the moms a break and go into the shelter and take the kids. I even taught one how to sew and take them out, take them to a play, and just give the mom a few hours an evening or even a day. And it was just the best. Really very cool. So when I focus on others, my world expands. There's a connection that happens between two people when there is recognition of their oneness. There is a presence of God. When we totally embrace the principle of oneness, we create ripples of love. When we give unconditionally of our time, treasures, we open the space for people's expansion and our own. Awakening from our sense of separateness is what we're called to do in all things, not merely in service. Service is part of the journey. Service is part of the journey. It's a vehicle through which we reach a deeper understanding of life. Each step we take, each moment in which we grow toward a greater understanding of oneness, steadily transforms us into instruments of that help which truly heals. Service not only reveals a larger vision of life, but steadily moves us along and supports us in our efforts to realize this vision. Each time we seek to respond to appeals for help, we're being shown where we must grow in our own sense of oneness and what inner resources we can call upon to do so. We are constantly given opportunities to experience the inherent generosity of our heart, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So approaching each act of caring with a desire to grow, we also meet our fears and resistances, but with the opportunity to see them for what they are and to loosen the hold and ultimately relinquish them. So on the path of service, we are constantly given feedback which helps us along the greater journey of awakening. If we know our oneness with God, what a great burden is removed. If we perceive ourselves as separate from the universe in any way, we shall be limited by this thought. Dr. Ernest Holmes states that I believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all, and that we are all incarnations of the one Spirit. We know this. So one more thing I wanted to discuss that I've been thinking about lately, and I've talked to Dar about this as a matter of fact, is the whole idea of taking care of yourself first before helping others. The old put your safety mask on first idea. How many people live by that? Okay. Sort of. I believe in this idea to a certain extent. And I have heard about it, and I do, and now I'm looking at it a little differently. Because if you're coming from a feeling of not having enough, which that could be, it depends on the person, but it's a limiting thought. And you may never get out there and experience the joy of helping others. And yes, put in an airplane, putting on the mask first is important to be able to help others. But if you never feel complete, if you're always coming from a little bit of lack, you may never feel that you could help others. But when you help others, it gives you more. It's an untapped well. So, we've talked about the power of kindness, what radical kindness is, and how this is all about oneness, which opens us up for expansion and embracing a new way of being in our lives to create the biggest ripple ever. Definitely a wave. So, as I conclude, I'm going to take about 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to have a meditation. So, I would like to guide you in this meditation now. If you feel comfortable, take a few deep breaths and close your eyes if you're comfortable. Just relax and imagine that you are a deep well of love, joy, peace, compassion, and service. It permeates every vein, muscle, and joint of your body at the soul level. Your heart is warm and open to the unlimited possibilities that are ahead of you as you embark on a new journey of seeing each person, no matter what their circumstances, as a kindred spirit. The connection that is made with each person prospers you in ways that you didn't know were possible. You see the simplicity in this, how easy it is to just be love and extend your love to others with trust and faith. Feel the ripple that you cause with your good deed. And imagine that ripple expanding way past your vision. And imagine the ripple connecting with other ripples and causing a wave of goodness, love, joy, and radical kindness. This wave of kindness is changing the world, one person at a time, and it feels really good to be a part of such a profound thing happening right now as I speak. Each of you creates your own ripple in your own individual way. Just step out of your comfort zone and do something radical today. There is no right or wrong way to be kind. Just do it. Be it. And go be kind. And watch with a keen eye to witness how your life improves. Thank you, and let it be your way.